Are you ready for a prophetic adventure? Are you ready for extreme faith combined with extreme sport? This is Prayer Walk, where we follow a courageous woman that has set out to walk all across the borders of Norway to pray for the land. And yes, the nature and the weather in Norway is not tamed, so this is going to be a real challenge. And if you want to follow that journey, then I will be reporting on the real struggles, the tears, the challenges, the joys, the blessings and breakthroughs every Sunday. So stay tuned. It is Sunday 24th of September, and that means that, the world didn't end yesterday as many predicted. I never really listened to those kind of messages. I just have in my gut that that's not how God is gonna do it. And we also know from scripture that there are several things that needs to happen before this stage comes. Anyway, right now we are getting ready for another step in the prayer walk adventure, and I will be sharing this time a little bit about how I met Anne Christine, because Anne Christine is the name of the prayer walker. That is the woman that is going to be walking all around Norway, and at the moment she's been focusing on the mountain areas and the different, well, there's so many different tops, mountain tops in that central area of Norway. But she's been focusing on one area that is called Rondane and Dovre, which is kind of like in the center of Norway. It's like the heart of Norway. And our constitution has been sworn in by this Dovre fjell. Well, that means Dovre mountain. And Dovre is actually a word for a big, gigantic troll. Like a huge fellow that is so big that you just cannot see the end of him even. So that's what she's been focusing on right now. But I will be sharing a little bit about how we met, because basically in 2016, in August, I went to the other side of the nation to gather and join in a prophetic gathering. And it was Jane and Tom Hammond that came all the way from Florida. I saw that they would come, and I was kind of like, yep, I'm going there. And there was no room for me. It was fully booked. So I just said, okay, God, if I'm meant to be there, then you will make space for it, and you will take care of the costs and, all of these things. And that's exactly what happened. I got room and I got space, and I got, I was just launched into it as if it was really meant. And it was indeed a great gathering. And in that gathering, the leader that was, gathering people, he has a denomination that is called the Roaring Lamb. And he had people serving with him. And one of those people was Anne Christine. So she actually prayed for me and prophesied over me. So that was how I met her, but that was totally impersonal. I didn't remember her name, and it was the lady that prayed for me, basically. And then I met a few other people from my region. I live on the west coast of Norway, and because Norway is quite a big nation, and because it has all of these mountains and fjords, distance and traveling is an issue. Especially on the west coast where I live, it is definitely an issue. So because of that, there's not too many people in my area, and if they are there, it can be quite, hard to get to them. At the moment, we are kind of like 3 people in my area with the same kind of focus, and eagerness. And between the two of us, there's like 1.5 hour traveling. We have to cross 2 fjords and, jump in between on an island, and a little bit of up and down and back and forth. So that's how nature is here. And because of that, because of this kind of, the luxury of having all the nature and the mountains and the fjords and the beauty and the peace, but we also got isolation, and thank God for internet. That is indeed a blessing. But because of that isolation, I noticed very much indeed when somebody in that gathering was speaking the kind of dialect that is close to my area. Because we have a lot of different dialects in Norway, and they are very, very specific and different. So I heard a lady speaking with a dialect that was in my region. And so I grabbed hold of her, like, hey, you're not far away from me. That was the beginning of a friendship. And so I kept contact with this friend, and we gathered a few times with prophetic prayer, and it's just wonderful gatherings. And then half a year later, she contacted me because she wanted to have a prayer gathering in her place. And she was going to invite Janne Christine. Or she wasn't going to invite her, but Janne Christine had actually said that she would come. And so I assumed, oh, that's great. I didn't know who Janne Christine was. I didn't remember her name, So I knew her face, but I didn't know that was her. But I knew that it was somebody from this denomination, like the prophetic team, that was coming. And of course, I wanted to join. And I was expecting, like perhaps 10 or 20 or 30 people gathering, because this is, a little bit out of the normal in our area. And Janne Christine, she would be driving for about 8 hours to get there and stay there, overnight a few days because of the length of the journey. So I was definitely expecting a gathering. And, well, here's what happened. It was just me and Janne Christine and my friend. And that was all. I was amazed by that, and we didn't really know why we were gathered. And okay, it was kind of like this prophetic thing that just, oh, I'm going to do that. That was kind of like how it started. And so we gathered and we prayed, and it was a real strong dynamic. We got images and we just declared the things that we saw, and one did one bit and another got confirmation of that bit, and it just built on each one's words or whatever God was showing us. Janne Christine had been praying for me, and she'd been praying for my friend, and then I was gonna pray for her and kind of like share the things that I was shown. And Janne Christine, she was like a leader, and she was experienced in this, and I was like the new one, kind of like not ever been a part of a like a church or a denomination like that. So I didn't have that ponders, like that experience to show to, and I was kind of like, okay. But I always walked with God. I just never felt accepted by Christians, So I prayed for her, and I started to get really weird images. I saw her as a dog. It was her head and her hair, but she was a dog in a way. And then I saw her as a horse in the same way. And I just didn't know what to say. Here this kind of like prestigious person was, and I saw her as a dog and a horse. So I really didn't know what to say, but I started to talk, and I said, I get some images. I don't know what they mean, but I'm just going to share what I see. And then I shared it, and I said, it's like, it is as if God has given you a very out of the normal box sort of, mission or a way of seeing things, that you are able to be one with nature and animals, and that you see life in a completely different way. And so I kind of like, well, does that make sense to you in any kind of way? And she was just, almost, I don't know. For her, this was a huge confirmation, because she really felt so out of the box, unnormal, and I knew nothing about her plans to walk and pray and mountains and animals and all of these things. And we continued praying, and later on I started to see the different plants that are growing up in the mountains. Not the ones that we have down by the sea, but the ones that are up in the mountains. And I saw them as if they were woven into her hair, as if they were one with her. And it was yet another confirmation that just God has created you so connected to and one with nature. And this was, kind of like just opening the doors big time. And she started sharing her visions and her plan and her, like her desire to walk and pray. And it was this that was connecting us together. I mean, I couldn't know this. I mean, why would we be gathering there? We didn't know why we were there in the first place. And she had no plans of bringing up this. In fact, she had been, kind of like ridiculed and doubted and, like had not so supportive feedback on these kind of things. So for her to kind of like just walk into a space where this was lifted up and honored, and wow, we love this. And so that was indeed the beginning. And we continued to pray, and there was a lot of different things that came up. But this was, just a spark that made us all kind of like, wow, something is going on. And so as we continued talking and praying, it became very clear that our common friend, she had a desire to pray for Norway and to gather people in her home for prayer. And Norway was so much on her heart. And then Janne Christine, she had in her heart, she just had to go out and walk and pray. And then I thought, that's my nature. I thought, but wow, this is a real adventure. How cool isn't this? And this is something that can engage people. It's different, and this kind of journey has to be documented. And I was thinking about, you could have a selfie cam and things like that, but it's going to be too complicated. So I said, wow, you should have a TV team come with you. And then I thought, no, it's too hard to find any TV teams in Norway is going to be doing this. No. But a radio, that would be cool. That would be easier to manage. And then, it could be a way of spreading the word and connecting people. And then a month earlier, I'd been tricked into starting radio. And that's a story on its own. If you want to know that, you can listen to Guns and Radios, which is the first show that I made. And I like to say that, God really tricked me into doing radio. It was not my plan. But I just had this focus that, yes, it would indeed be awesome to have a radio, to follow her and to give reports of the developments and things like that. And I was thinking, who could be doing that? What kind of radios do we have in Norway? I don't know. It's really silly, you know. It took even days for me to just really get it that I could do that, you know. I hadn't started the radio, but I had committed to start the radio. And so it was like, wow, I could actually do that. And it's funny, you know. It's funny how God works. So that, at least, was the beginning of all of this. And we were so ignited and so on fire because it was something so unexpected that happened. None of us had, you know, any expectations of anything special to come out of this. We were just going to gather and pray. And perhaps we would get a prophetic word or some inspiration or uplifting thing. But out of it, a connection and a project was born. And we've been gathering regularly after that. But of course, because of distance, it couldn't be done that much. But still, that's what's been going on. And it's pretty cool, don't you think? I am going to be closing down in a second here, but I want to share that this prayer walk thing, it is inspiring people around the world. It's not that many yet, but still, it is inspiring people in Norway and around the world to start making a difference in their area and to take up the rod and take territory for God. And I love that. So I can say that there's been planted tent pegs in Florida, in New Jersey, and a woman in Canada is planning to do some work there. She's just digging to get the right kind of information. And bit by bit, it's coming into the place where it's supposed to be, where we function as a body and dedicate the land and our areas to God. So I'll be back next Sunday, same time, 19 o'clock in Central Europe, which means 10 o'clock in US Pacific time. But before then, I'll be back with Spirit Talk on the Saturday. Until then, be blessed, and God loves you.